She insisted on updating my life insurance. Said it was for peace of mind. 2 weeks later, my brakes failed on the highway. I survived. Barely. At 10 p.m., I watched the security footage. She was in my garage the night before the accident. The next morning, I changed the beneficiary and called the police. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now, let's dive into today's story. The air conditioning in Callahan Diesel and Auto rattled the way it always did on hot Texas afternoons. Rhett Callahan sat at his desk in the office above the service bays, listening to the familiar sounds of his shop. Air wrenches spinning, metal clanging against concrete. The radio playing country music someone had turned up too loud. He had built all of this from nothing. Rhett grew up in a single-wide trailer on the east side of Fort Worth. His father spent more time with a bottle than with his family. His mother worked the morning shift at a diner and the evening shift at a laundromat. She came home smelling like grease and detergent. She came home tired. She came home defeated. Rhett learned early that if you wanted something stable in your life, you had to build it yourself. Nobody was going to hand it to you. Nobody was going to save you. He opened Callahan Diesel at 26 with a single hydraulic lift, a used toolbox from an estate sale, and a $5,000 loan from a bank that almost said no. He slept in the office for the first 6 months because he could not afford both rent and equipment payments. He ate ramen noodles and gas station sandwiches. He worked 16-hour days until his hands bled and his back screamed. By the time he turned 42, he owned the whole block. 6 service bays, 12 employees, a reputation for honest work in a town that valued honesty more than flash. Broken Pine, Texas was not a place for dreamers. It was a dry, hardscrabble town just outside Fort Worth where people worked with their hands and went to church on Sundays. Auto shops lined the main road. Diners served chicken fried steak and sweet tea. Baptist churches held Wednesday night services. Friday night football games filled the stands every fall. Rhett fit into Broken Pine the way a puzzle piece fits in a place. He did not drink. He did not gamble. He did not run around. He showed up early and stayed late. He kept his word, and he married a woman who seemed to appreciate all of that. Danica Callahan was 37 years old with honey-colored hair she wore pulled back in a ponytail. She had a soft voice and a warm smile. She volunteered at the church bake sales. She brought lunch to the shop once a week. She told everyone who would listen that she had stood by Rhett through the hard years. That was not exactly true. Danica met Rhett when the shop was already turning a profit. She met him when he drove a new truck and lived in a house with a 2-car garage. She liked stability. She liked knowing the bills would get paid. She liked telling people her husband owned his own business. Rhett knew all of that. He was not naive, but he also knew that relationships were built on agreements. She wanted security. He wanted someone to come home to. It seemed fair enough. Lately, though, something had changed. Danica had become softer, sweeter, more attentive. She cooked his favorite meals without being asked. Pot roast with carrots and potatoes. Cornbread with honey butter. Peach cobbler for dessert. She sat closer to him on the couch while they watched television. She asked about his day with what seemed like genuine interest. She touched his arm when she spoke to him. It felt nice. It also felt wrong. Rhett had been married long enough to know when someone wanted something. One evening in late August, Danica walked into the living room carrying a folder. She wore jeans and a white blouse. Her hair was down. She smelled like vanilla. She sat next to him on the couch and placed the folder on the coffee table. "I did something today," she said gently. Rhett muted the television. "What's that?" "I updated your life insurance policy." He looked at her. "Why?" "Because you work with heavy equipment every day. Diesels, lifts, trucks that weigh 10,000 pounds. She reached over and took his hand. "I worry about you. If something happened, I need to know I would be okay." Rhett studied her face. She looked calm, loving, concerned, almost too concerned. "How much did you update it to?" he asked. $3 million. The number hung in the air between them. "That's a lot of money, Danica." "It's not greedy," she said quickly. "It's practical. We have this house. We have the business. I don't want to lose everything if something happens to you." She squeezed his hand. "I'm just trying to be smart." Rhett did not say anything for a moment. He looked down at the folder. The paperwork was already filled out. All he had to do was sign. When did you set this up? He asked. This week. The agent came by the house. You didn't ask me first. I didn't want to worry you with details. She smiled. I know how busy you are at the shop. I just wanted to take care of it. Red opened the folder. The policy was through a company he recognized. The terms looked standard. The monthly premium was higher than their old policy, but not unreasonable. He picked up the pen on the table. Danica watched him. Red signed the paperwork. Thank you, she said softly. She kissed his cheek. This gives me peace of mind. She took the folder and walked into the kitchen. Rhett heard her humming. He unmuted the television, but he did not watch it. Rhett Callahan had survived 26 years in the diesel repair business by paying attention to timing. When a customer suddenly wanted faster service, it usually meant they were about to sell the vehicle. When an employee started taking longer lunch breaks, it usually meant they were looking for another job. When someone changed their behavior without explanation, it usually meant something had shifted beneath the surface. Danica had never cared about paperwork before. She had never worried about insurance policies or financial planning. She left all of that to Rhett, but now she was making updates without asking him. Now she was being sweet. Now she was cooking his favorite meals. Rhett did not believe in coincidences. 2 weeks later, he was driving home from a job site on Interstate 35. It was a Thursday evening. The sun was starting to set. Traffic was light. Rhett drove a 2019 Ford F-250 Super Duty diesel, dark blue with chrome trim. He kept it maintained. He changed the oil every 5,000 miles. He checked the tires. He replaced the brake pads before they wore down too far. He knew his truck the way a surgeon knows a scalpel, which is why he noticed immediately when the brake pedal felt wrong. Rhett was doing 70 miles per hour in the right lane when he tapped the brakes to slow down for his exit. The pedal went soft under his boot. It sank toward the floor with almost no resistance. Most people would have panicked. Rhett did not panic. He had been driving broken farm trucks since he was 14 years old. He understood machinery. He understood physics. He understood what happened when things failed. He downshifted into third gear. The engine roared. The RPM spiked. The truck started to slow. He pumped the brake pedal 3 times, trying to build pressure. Nothing. He looked ahead. A concrete divider ran along the left side of the highway. The shoulder was narrow. Cars were passing him on the left. Rhett eased the truck toward the shoulder. Gravel crunched under the tires. The truck fishtailed slightly. He turned into the skid. He downshifted again into second gear. The engine screamed. The truck bucked. The speedometer dropped to 40, then 30, then 20. He rolled to a stop 15 feet short of a concrete support pillar. For a full minute, Rhett just sat there. His hand was steady on the steering wheel. His heartbeat was calm. He took a slow breath and looked in the rearview mirror. Traffic kept moving behind him. Nobody stopped. Nobody noticed. He put the truck in park and turned off the engine. Then he stepped out. The evening air was warm. The sky was turning orange and pink. Rhett walked around to the front of the truck and popped the hood. He pulled a flashlight from the toolbox in the bed and bent down to look at the brake lines. The metal tubing ran along the frame of the truck from the master cylinder to each wheel. Rhett traced the line with his eyes. He knew what a worn brake line looked like. Rust, corrosion, slow leaks that left stains on the driveway. This was not that. The brake line had been cut. Not worn. Not corroded. Cut. The slice was clean. Precise. Someone had used a blade or a cutting tool. They had cut deep enough to weaken the line, but not deep enough to make it fail immediately. The line would hold under normal pressure. But the moment Rhett hit the brakes hard, it would rupture completely. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. Rhett stood up slowly. He closed the hood. He pulled out his phone and called a tow truck. Then he called the non-emergency police line and filed an accident report. He kept it simple. Brake failure. Mechanical issue. No injuries. The tow truck driver showed up 20 minutes later. He was a guy Rhett knew from town named Eddie Parsons. Eddie hooked up the F-250 and raised it onto the flatbed. You okay, Rhett? Eddie asked. I'm fine. Brakes go out. Looks like it. Lucky you didn't hit that wall. Yeah, Rhett said. Lucky. Eddie drove him back to the shop. Rhett thanked him and watched the tow truck disappear down the road. Then he walked upstairs to his office. It was 10 o'clock at night. The shop was dark. The service bays were empty. Rhett sat down at his desk and opened his laptop. He had installed security cameras around the property 2 years ago after someone broke into the building and stole copper wiring. There were cameras on the front entrance, the service bays, the parking lot, and the back alley. There was also a camera in his home garage. Rhett had installed that one after he started noticing small tools going missing. He never mentioned it to Danica. He just wanted to see if he was being paranoid. He opened the security app and scrolled back through the footage from the night before. The garage camera showed his F-250 parked in its usual spot. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m. Nothing moved. The garage was dark except for a motion-activated light near the door. Then, at 1:18 a.m., the light turned on. A man walked into the garage. He wore a baseball cap pulled low, a dark jacket, jeans, work boots. He moved quickly but carefully. He crouched down next to the front driver's side tire and slid underneath the truck. The camera angle was not perfect, but it was good enough. Rhett leaned closer to the screen. The man stayed under the truck for about 4 minutes. When he came out, he had something in his hand, a tool, maybe a utility knife. He stood up, looked around, and walked out of the garage the same way he came in. The motion light turned off. Rhett rewound the footage and paused it at the moment the man walked into the frame. The baseball cap covered most of his face, but his build was familiar. The way he walked, the way he moved. Rhett knew who it was. Gavin Rourke. Gavin used to work at Callahan Diesel and Auto as a service manager. He was 39 years old, tall and lean, with a quick smile and an easy way of talking to customers. Rhett hired him 3 years ago because he seemed reliable. He showed up on time. He knew his way around a diesel engine. He brought in business. But Gavin had a problem. About a year ago, Rhett started noticing inventory discrepancies. Catalytic converters were going missing. Fuel injectors. Brake rotors. Small parts that added up. Rhett reviewed the security footage and saw Gavin loading boxes into his personal truck after hours. He checked the invoices and found falsified records. Gavin had been stealing parts and selling them on the side. Rhett fired him on the spot. No argument. No second chance. He gave Gavin 30 minutes to clear out his locker and leave the property. He did not press charges because he did not want the hassle of a court case. He just wanted Gavin gone. Gavin did not take it well. He called Rhett a bastard. He said Rhett owed him severance. He said he would make Rhett regret firing him. Rhett ignored all of it. He had heard plenty of threats over the years. Most people cool down after a few days. But Gavin did not cool down. He filed a wrongful termination complaint with the labor board. It went nowhere. He left bad reviews online. Rhett did not respond. He just kept working. And now, a year later, Gavin had broken into Rhett's garage and cut his brake line. Rhett sat back in his chair and stared at the screen. Gavin had motive. Revenge. Anger. Resentment. But Gavin did not have access to Rhett's schedule. He did not know when Rhett would be driving on the highway. He did not know which route Rhett would take home. Someone had to tell him. Someone who knew Rhett's habits. Someone who knew when he would be alone. Someone who had a reason to want him dead. Rhett closed the laptop slowly. He thought about the life insurance policy. $3 million. Updated 2 weeks ago. Signed without hesitation. He thought about Danica's sudden sweetness. The meals. The touches. The concern. He thought about timing. And he felt something cold and heavy settle in his chest. The next morning, Danica showed up at the shop with coffee. She drove her white Honda CR-V and parked near the front entrance. She wore a light blue sundress and sandals. Her hair was pulled back. She carried 2 cups from the coffee shop down the street. Rhett was in the office when he saw her walking across the parking lot. He watched her through the window. She looked relaxed, happy. She climbed the stairs and knocked on the office door. "Come in," Rhett said. She opened the door and smiled. "I brought you coffee. Thought you might need it after last night." Rhett stood up. "How did you know about last night?" "Eddie Parsons called me. He said he towed your truck." She walked over and handed him the cup. "Are you okay?" "He said your brakes went out." "I'm fine." "You could have died, Rhett." Her voice shook. She touched his arm. "You could have hit that wall going 70 miles an hour." Rhett looked down at her hand on his arm. Her fingers were trembling slightly. "But I didn't," he said. "Thank God." She stepped closer. "What happened? Did you hit something? Did the line rust through?" "I don't know yet. I haven't looked at it. You should take it to a mechanic. I am a mechanic. She laughed softly. I know. I just mean, maybe someone else should look at it. Make sure it's safe. Rhett took a sip of the coffee. It was black, the way he liked it. I'll figure it out. Danica stayed for a few more minutes. She asked about his day. She reminded him they had dinner plans with her sister on Saturday. She kissed him on the cheek before she left. Rhett watched her walk back to her car. She waved at him through the window. He waved back. Then he sat down at his desk and pulled up the garage footage again. He watched Gavin crawl under the truck. He watched him slide back out. He watched him walk away. And he thought about Danica's questions. She did not ask if he had called the police. She did not ask if he suspected foul play. She did not ask if anyone had access to his truck. She just wanted to know what happened to the brake line. That night, after Danica fell asleep, Rhett went downstairs to the home office. The room was small, just big enough for a desk and a filing cabinet. Danica used it sometimes to pay bills or browse the internet. Rhett turned on the desk lamp and sat down. He opened the desk drawers one by one. Bills, receipts, notepads, nothing unusual. Then he picked up Danica's tablet from a desk. It was an iPad with a rose gold case. She used it to watch cooking videos and check Facebook. Rhett knew the passcode. It was her birthday. He unlocked the screen and opened the Photos app. Nothing strange. Pictures of the house. Pictures of food. Pictures of their dog. He opened the email app. Her inbox was full of promotional emails and newsletters. He scrolled through them. Nothing suspicious. Then he noticed a folder labeled Archive. Rhett clicked on it. Inside were 17 emails. All of them were from Gavin Rourke. Rhett opened the first one. It was dated 6 months ago. From grourke73@gmail.com to danicacallahan@gmail.com. Subject, coffee? Hey, I know it's been a while. I was thinking about you. Want to grab coffee sometime? Rhett opened the next one. From danicacallahan@gmail.com to grourke73@gmail.com. Subject, coffee? That would be nice. How about Tuesday? Rhett kept reading. The emails started casual. Coffee, lunch, small talk. Then they changed. From grourke73@gmail.com to danicacallahan@gmail.com. Subject, us. I can't stop thinking about what you said. You deserve better than him. You deserve someone who sees you. From danicacallahan@gmail.com to grourke73@gmail.com. Subject, us. I know, but it's complicated. He controls everything. The money, the house, all of it. Rhett's jaw tightened. He scrolled further. From danicacallahan@gmail.com to grourke73@gmail.com. Subject, the policy. I updated the insurance today. $3 million. Once it's done, we'll finally have enough to start over. From grourke73@gmail.com to danicacallahan@gmail.com. Subject, the policy. You're sure he drives that route every Thursday? From danicacallahan@gmail.com to grourke73@gmail.com. Subject, the policy. Every Thursday. Same time. Interstate 35. He's predictable. Rhett stopped reading. He opened the Files app and searched through the folders. In a hidden folder labeled Travel, he found confirmation for 2 plane tickets to Cancun. Departure date, 3 days after the crash. Both tickets were in different names. Fake names. But the passenger details matched Danica and Gavin. Rhett closed the tablet and set it back on the desk exactly where he found it. He walked back upstairs. Danica was still asleep, curled on her side with her back to him. He stood in the doorway for a moment, watching her breathe. Then he went into the bathroom and closed the door. He sat on the edge of the bathtub and stared at the tile floor. His wife had tried to kill him. Not in a moment of rage. Not in a fit of emotion. She had planned it, coordinated it, chosen the time and place. She had updated the insurance, bought the tickets, set the trap, and she had done it all while smiling at him across the dinner table. Rhett did not yell. He did not punch the wall. He did not cry. He just sat there in the quiet bathroom and let the truth settle into his bones. Then he stood up, turned off the light, and went to bed. He had work to do. The next morning, Rhett called his attorney. Cole Brannock was 62 years old with silver hair and a voice like gravel. He had handled Rhett's business contracts for the past 15 years. He did not waste time with pleasantries. He had not sugarcoat bad news. He told you what you needed to hear and expected you to deal with it. Rhett trusted him. "I need to see you today," Rhett said over the phone. "What's going on?" Cole asked. "I'll explain in person." They met at Cole's office at 9 in the morning. The building was a 2-story brick structure on Main Street, wedged between a hardware store and a tax preparer. Cole's office was on the 2nd floor, filled with file cabinets and framed law degrees. Rhett sat down across from Cole's desk. Cole poured them both coffee from a pot that looked like it had been brewing since dawn. "Talk to me," Cole said. Rhett told him everything. The insurance policy, the brake line, the garage footage, the emails, the plane tickets. He spoke calmly, like he was describing a repair estimate. Cole listened without interrupting. When Rhett finished, Cole leaned back in his chair and let out a long breath. "Jesus Christ," he said. "Yeah, you want police first or divorce first?" "Both," Rhett said, "but I want it done right." Cole picked up a pen and started writing notes. "The footage is solid. The emails are damning. If you go to the police with this, they'll arrest her. Probably Gavin too. I know, but once you do that, you can't undo it. This becomes public. Your business, your reputation, all of it gets dragged through the mud. I don't care about that." Cole looked at him. "You sure?" "I'm sure." Cole nodded. "Okay, then we do this clean. We change the insurance beneficiary first. Cut her out completely. Then we file the police report with all the evidence. Then we file for divorce on grounds of attempted murder. Can we do that? In Texas? Hell yes. If your spouse tries to kill you, the court doesn't exactly split things down the middle." Cole tapped his pen on the desk. "She'll forfeit claim to major assets. The house, the business, most of the accounts. She won't get a dime." Rhett sat back. "Good. You want me to contact the insurance company?" "Yeah. Change the beneficiary today." "Who do you want it to go to?" Rhett thought for a moment. "The Veterans Mechanical Training Program over in Arlington. The one that helps guys transition out of the service." Cole wrote it down. "That's a good choice. It's better than giving it to someone who tried to kill me." Cole set down his pen. "Rhett, I've known you a long time. You're one of the most level-headed people I've ever met. But this is going to get ugly. She's going to fight. She's going to cry. She's going to tell everyone you're lying. Are you ready for that?" "I am." "What about emotionally? You married this woman. You built a life with her." "I married someone I thought existed," Rhett said. "That person doesn't." Cole studied him for a moment, then nodded. "All right, let's get to work." By noon, the insurance beneficiary had been changed. By 2 o'clock, Rhett was sitting in the Broken Pine Police Department giving a statement to Detective Laura Hayes. Detective Hayes was in her early 40s, sharp-eyed and no-nonsense. She had worked in Fort Worth before transferring to Broken Pine 5 years ago. She knew Rhett by reputation. She knew his shop. She knew he was not the type to waste her time. Rhett showed her the garage footage. He showed her the emails. He showed her the plane tickets. He explained the brake line. He laid it all out in order, step by step, the way he would explain a repair to a customer. Detective Hayes watched the footage 3 times. "You got lucky," she said. "I know. If that brake line had ruptured on the highway at full speed, you'd be dead." "I know." She leaned back in her chair. "This is attempted murder. Conspiracy. We're talking serious time." "Good. We'll need to arrest both of them. Gavin first. He'll probably talk. If he gives up your wife, it makes the case stronger. Do whatever you need to do." Detective Hayes stood up. "I'll get a warrant. Sit tight." Rhett went home that evening and cooked dinner. Chicken and rice. Simple. Easy. He set the table for 2. Danica came home at 6:30. She walked into the kitchen and smiled. "Smells good," she said. "Thanks." They ate together. She talked about her day. She mentioned something her sister said. She asked if Rhett had looked at the truck yet. "Not yet," he said. "You should. I worry about you driving something unsafe." "I'll get to it." After dinner, Rhett washed the dishes while Danica watched television. He dried his hands on a towel and walked into the living room. He sat next to her on the couch. She leaned into him. Rhett kissed her on the forehead. She smiled, and he felt nothing. The next day, police picked up Gavin Rourke at his apartment. He lived in a rundown complex on the south side of town. 2 patrol officers knocked on his door at 7 in the morning. Gavin answered in sweatpants and a t-shirt. He looked surprised. Then he looked scared. They arrested him without incident. At the station, Detective Hayes sat across from Gavin in the interrogation room. She placed a folder on the table and opened it. Inside was a printout of the garage footage. "That's you," she said. Gavin stared at the image. "I want a lawyer." "You can have one. But I'm going to tell you something first." Detective Hayes leaned forward. "We have the footage. We have the emails. We have the plane tickets. We have the brake line. We have everything. You can sit here and wait for a lawyer and hope for the best, or you can talk to me now and maybe save yourself some time." Gavin did not say anything. Attempted murder carries a minimum of 5 years in Texas. Detective Hayes continued. "If we can prove premeditation, it goes up to 20. You're looking at serious time, Gavin. But if you cooperate, if you tell me the truth, I can talk to the DA about a deal." Gavin rubbed his face with his hands. "She told me he was abusive." "Who?" "Danica." She said Rhett hit her. She said he controlled all the money. She said she was scared. Did you believe her?" Gavin hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe. She seemed like she needed help. So you helped her by cutting his brake line." "She asked me to. She said it was the only way. She said if he was gone, we could be together. We could start over. And the insurance money?" Gavin looked down. "She said we'd split it. Half and half. She said we'd leave Texas. Go somewhere warm. Be free." "Where were you planning to go?" "Mexico. Cancun." "Yeah." Detective Hayes pulled out the email printouts. "These are conversations between you and Danica. She told you which route Rhett takes. She told you what time he leaves. She updated the insurance policy 2 weeks before you cut the brake line." Gavin stared at the emails. "She planned this," Detective Hayes said. "Not you. Her. I just did what she asked." "You cut the brake line." "Yeah." "Did she force you?" "No." "Did she threaten you?" "No." "So you chose to do it." Gavin did not answer. Detective Hayes closed the folder. "Here's the thing, Gavin. You're already looking a hard time. But there's something else I need to know." "What?" "If the brake line didn't kill him, were you planning to try again?" Gavin's face went pale. "Answer the question." She said if it didn't work, we'd figure something else out." "Figure something else out? You mean another attempt?" "I guess." "Yes or no, Gavin?" "Yes." Detective Hayes stood up. "You just admitted to conspiracy to commit murder with intent to retry. That changes everything. You're done." They arrested Danica Callahan at the grocery store. She was in the produce section, picking out tomatoes, when 2 officers approached her. She looked confused. Then she looked angry. "What is this about?" she demanded. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder." "That's insane. Who am I supposed to have tried to murder?" "Your husband." Danica's face went white. "That's ridiculous. Rhett is fine. I just saw him this morning." "Turn around and put your hands behind your back." "I'm not doing that. This is a mistake." One of the officers took her arm. "Ma'am, please cooperate." "Get your hands off me." People in the store stopped and stared. Phones came out. Someone started filming. The officers handcuffed Danica and led her out of the store. She shouted the entire way. She said it was a lie. She said Rhett was setting her up. She said she wanted a lawyer. By the time they reached the patrol car, half of Broken Pine had heard the news. Danica called Rhett from jail that afternoon. The phone rang 3 times before he answered. "Rhett, please," she said. Her voice was shaking. "You have to listen to me. This is all a mistake." "Is it?" "Yes. Gavin forced me into this. He said if I didn't help him, he'd hurt me. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. You seemed pretty sure in the emails. He made me write those. He was standing over my shoulder. And the insurance policy? I was just trying to be responsible. I didn't know what he was planning." Rhett was silent. "Please," Danica said. "We can fix this. I'll tell the police the truth. I'll explain everything. We can make this go away." "I don't think we can." "Rhett, I love you. You know that." "Do I?" "Yes. I've always loved you. I made a mistake. I got confused. But we can get through this together." Rhett sat in his office, looking out the window at the shop below. One of his mechanics was rotating tires on a Chevy Silverado. Another was changing oil on a Ford Ranger. Life kept moving forward. "Danica," he said calmly. "Yes. I saw the garage footage. I read the emails. I found the plane tickets." Silence on the other end. I know what you did, Rhett continued. I know you planned it. I know you coordinated with Gavin. I know you were going to leave 3 days after I died. That's not. And I know if the brake line didn't kill me, you were going to try again. More silence. So no, Rhett said. We can't fix this. He hung up. 2 days later, Rhett's attorney called him with news. Prosecutors found something else, Cole said. What? Remember that camera you installed in your home office? Yeah. It recorded more than you realized. Cole sent over the footage. Rhett watched it on his laptop. The timestamp was from 4 months ago, long before the brake line, long before Gavin broke into the garage. The camera showed Danica sitting at the desk. She was alone. She opened a file cabinet and pulled out Rhett's business records. She photographed tax returns, bank statements, asset valuations. She sent the photos to her email. Then she pulled up the life insurance policy on her computer. She made notes. She highlighted sections. She researched how payouts worked. She was planning this long before Gavin got involved. Rhett closed the laptop. Cole's voice came through the phone. This destroys her defense. She can't claim Gavin forced her if she was researching insurance payouts 4 months before he cut the brake line. No, Rhett said. She can't. The DA is charging her as the primary actor. Gavin's a secondary participant. She's looking at 15 to 20 years. Good. You okay? I'm fine. You don't sound fine. I'm fine, Cole. Cole was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, I'm sorry this happened to you. Yeah, me too. Rhett went back to work. He had a transmission to rebuild and an engine to diagnose. He had customers waiting. He had bills to pay. He did not visit Danica in jail. He did not take her calls. He did not respond to the letters she sent. He just kept moving forward. The courtroom was packed on the first day of the trial. People from Broken Pine filled the benches. Rhett's employees, customers, people who had known Danica from church. The local newspaper sent a reporter. Someone set up a camera for the evening news. Rhett sat in the front row on the prosecution's side. He wore a dark suit and a blue tie. He kept his hands folded in his lap. He did not look at Danica. Danica sat at the defense table with her lawyer, a public defender named Marcus Tilley, who looked like he had not slept in 3 days. She wore a conservative gray dress. Her hair was pulled back. She had lost weight. She looked smaller than Rhett remembered. When she saw him, she tried to make eye contact. Rhett looked straight ahead. The judge entered the room. Everyone stood. Then they sat. The trial began. The prosecution called Detective Laura Hayes to the stand first. She walked the jury through the evidence, the garage footage, the emails, the plane tickets, the brake line. She spoke clearly and methodically. She did not editorialize. She just presented the facts. The defense attorney tried to poke holes in the timeline. He asked if Gavin could have acted alone. Detective Hayes said no. The emails proved coordination. The insurance update proved premeditation. Danica was involved from the beginning. Next, the prosecution called the mechanic who examined Rhett's truck. His name was Tom Gwynn. He ran an independent shop in Fort Worth. He was an expert witness who had testified in dozens of cases involving vehicle tampering. Tom showed the jury photographs of the brake line. He explained how it had been cut. He explained the tool marks. He explained how long it would take to fail. This was not an accident, Tom said. This was deliberate sabotage designed to cause brake failure at high speed. The defense attorney asked if it could have been vandalism. Some random person with a grudge. Tom shook his head. The cut was too precise. It was done by someone who knew exactly where to cut and how deep to cut. This was professional work. The prosecution called Gavin Rourke next. Gavin had agreed to testify in exchange for a reduced sentence. He walked into the courtroom in an orange jumpsuit. He looked thinner than Rhett remembered. His hands were cuffed. Gavin sat in the witness stand and took the oath. The prosecutor, a woman named Jennifer Orr, stood in front of him. Mr. Rourke, did you cut the brake line on Rhett Callahan's truck? Yes, Gavin said quietly. Why? Because Danica asked me to. Did she tell you why? She said Rhett was abusive. She said he controlled all the money. She said she wanted to be free. Did you believe her? Gavin hesitated. I wanted to. What did she promise you in return? Half the insurance money. And a life together. How much money was that? $1.5 million. A murmur went through the courtroom. Did you plan to leave Texas? Yes. We had tickets to Cancun. When were you scheduled to leave? 3 days after the crash. After Rhett's death, you mean? Yes. Jennifer or walked closer to the witness stand. Mr. Rourke, what did Danica say would happen if the brake line didn't kill Rhett? Gavin looked down. She said we'd try again. Try again how? I don't know. She didn't say. She just said we'd figure out. The defense attorney stood up. Objection. Speculation. The judge shook his head. Overruled. The witness is testifying to what the defendant said. Jennifer or nodded. Did you ever have doubts about what you were doing? Yeah, Gavin said. But by then I was already in too deep. Thank you. No further questions. The defense attorney cross-examined Gavin. He tried to paint him as the mastermind. He asked if Danica had any mechanical knowledge. Gavin said no. He asked if Danica knew how to cut a brake line. Gavin said no. He asked who had the expertise. I did, Gavin admitted. So you could have done this on your own. I could have. But I didn't. How do we know that? Because the emails prove Danica was involved. The defense attorney did not have a good answer for that. On the third day of the trial, the prosecution played the office camera footage. The courtroom went silent as the video played on a large screen. The timestamp showed the date. For months before the crash, Danica sat at the desk, alone, photographing Rhett's financial records. She pulled up the life insurance policy. She took notes. She searched for information about how payouts worked. When the video ended, Jennifer turned to the jury. This footage was recorded months before Gavin Rourke was ever involved, she said. This proves that Danica Callahan was not a victim. She was not coerced. She was the architect of this plan. The defense attorney objected. He said the footage showed nothing illegal. People review insurance policies all the time. The judge allowed it. The jury can decide what it means. On the fourth day, Danica took the stand. She walked slowly to the witness box. She looked at the jury. She looked at Rhett. Her eyes were red. Her hands shook. Her attorney asked her to tell her side of the story. I made a terrible mistake, Danica said. Her voice cracked. I got involved with someone I shouldn't have. Gavin manipulated me. He said Rhett was dangerous. He said I needed to protect myself. Did you believe him? Her attorney asked. I was confused. I didn't know what to believe. Did you want Rhett to die? No, never. I love him. I've always loved him. Then why did you update the insurance policy? I thought I was being responsible. I didn't know Gavin was planning to hurt Rhett. Did you know Gavin cut the brake line? Not until the police told me. Did you plan to leave for Mexico? Danica hesitated. Gavin bought the tickets. I didn't know what they were for. The prosecutor stood up for cross-examination. Jennifer walked slowly toward the witness stand. She did not raise her voice. She did not rush. She just asked simple questions. Mrs. Callahan, you said you didn't know what the plane tickets were for. Is that correct? Yes. But they were in your email. Gavin sent them to me. You didn't ask why he was sending you tickets to Mexico? I thought it was just a vacation idea. A vacation 3 days after your husband's scheduled death. I didn't know that. Jennifer pulled up the office camera footage on the screen. Mrs. Callahan, is this you? Danica looked at the screen. Her face went pale. Yes. What are you doing in this video? Looking at paperwork. You're photographing your husband's financial records. Why? I don't remember. You're reviewing the life insurance policy. Why? I told you. I was trying to be responsible. For months before Gavin cut the brake line, Danica did not answer. Mrs. Callahan, this footage proves you were planning something long before Gavin was involved. Doesn't it? No. Then what were you planning? Nothing. I was just looking. Jennifer let the silence hang in the air. Then she pulled out the email printouts. You wrote to Gavin, once it's done, we'll finally have enough to start over. What did you mean by that? I don't remember writing that. It's your email address. Gavin must have hacked it. And these emails about Rhett's route. He's predictable. Every Thursday. Same time. Did Gavin hack those too? Danica started crying. You don't understand. I was scared. I was trapped. Trapped in a house you helped buy? With a successful business? With a husband who never hit you? He controlled everything. Did he? Or did you just want the money? That's not true. Jennifer walked back to the prosecution table. No further questions. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they came back, the courtroom went silent. The foreman stood. "We find the defendant, Danica Callahan, guilty of conspiracy to commit murder." Danica gasped. "We find the defendant guilty of attempted murder." Danica started crying. Her attorney put a hand on her shoulder. The judge thanked the jury. Then he set a sentencing date for 2 weeks later. Rhett sat in the front row and felt nothing. 2 weeks later, Rhett returned to the courtroom for sentencing. Danica stood before the judge. Her attorney made a plea for leniency. He said she had no prior criminal record. He said she was remorseful. He said she deserved a second chance. The judge listened. Then he spoke. "Mrs. Callahan, you planned to murder your husband for financial gain. You manipulated another person to carry out the act. You showed no remorse until you were caught. This was not a crime of passion. This was calculated, cold, deliberate." He paused. "I sentence you to 15 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice." Danica collapsed. Her attorney caught her. The bailiff helped her to her feet. Gavin Rourke was sentenced separately. Because he cooperated, his sentence was reduced to 8 years. Rhett stood up and walked out of the courtroom. He did not look back. Outside, a reporter stopped him. "Mr. Callahan, do you have any comment?" "No." "Do you feel justice was served?" Rhett paused. "I feel like I survived." "Do you have any message for your wife?" "No." He walked to his truck and drove back to the shop. 6 months later, life in Broken Pine returned to normal. Rhett expanded Callahan Diesel and Auto. He added 2 more service bays. He hired 3 new mechanics. Business was better than ever. People respected him, not because of sympathy, but because he had handled everything without falling apart. He had been strategic, precise, unforgiving. He filed for divorce the day after the sentencing. Because of the criminal charges and the clear evidence of intent, Danica forfeited all claim to shared assets. Her name came off the shop, off the house, off every account. The divorce was finalized in 6 weeks. Rhett updated his life insurance policy again. The beneficiary remained the Veterans Mechanical Training Program in Arlington. They used the funds to expand their facility and provide more scholarships. Rhett received a thank you letter from the program director. He framed it and hung it in his office. Danica wrote letters from prison. The first one arrived a month after sentencing. Rhett recognized the handwriting on the envelope. He did not open it. He put it in the trash. The second letter arrived 2 weeks later. He threw it away unopened. She kept writing. 1 letter a month. Sometimes 2. Rhett never read them. He just threw them away. One evening, a reporter called and asked if Rhett ever missed Danica. Rhett thought about it for a moment. "I miss who I thought she was," he said. "Do you think she's changed?" "I don't care if she has." "Would you ever forgive her?" "No." "Why not?" "Because forgiveness requires trust. And she destroyed that." The reporter thanked him and hung up. Rhett stood outside the shop and watched the sun go down over Broken Pine. The sky turned orange and pink. The air smelled like motor oil and cut grass. A train whistle sounded in the distance. He had built this life from nothing. He had survived betrayal. He had made sure betrayal carried consequences. And now he had peace. Not the kind Danica promised him, with her fake smiles and fake affection. Real peace. The kind that came from knowing he had done what needed to be done. Rhett Callahan locked up the shop, climbed into his truck, and drove home. The road ahead was clear.